Okay, so now for Meghan and Harry updates on Twitter. You know, if I don't go on Twitter, I don't sort of get the latest. I was reading, what was I reading? I was reading that there's some new talk about taking away their Duke and Duchess titles because of the revelations in the Dutch version of author Omid Scobie's book, End Game, and how that version apparently outed Kate Middleton and King Charles III as being the quote, end quote, racists in the royal family who questioned the skin color to be of Harry and Meghan's then future children. And so apparently everyone is blaming Harry and Meghan for this revelation in the Dutch version of Omid Scobie's book. And and yeah, so now there's some new talk. I don't seem to see it, but there's some new talk that they will lose their Duke and Duchess title as a result of this. Um, yeah, so what do I think about that? If they lose their Duke and Duchess title, well, they'll just be the formerly the Duke. It's like Twitter. It's like X, formerly Twitter. That's how everybody refers to it. And everyone will refer to her as Meghan, formerly the Duchess of Sussex, which in effect is still acknowledging that she is the Duchess of Sussex. I don't think they can lose their titles. I think even if those titles are officially taken away by the palace and the bigwigs in the palace, and they probably are trying to figure out exactly how to do that as we speak and come out smelling like a rose while making Harry and Meghan the villains. I don't think it will be effective. I think it will amp up her her status as the Duchess of Sussex, because what will happen is that when people write articles about her from here until she dies, is they're going to make a point of referring to her as Meghan, formerly the Duchess of Sussex. They're hardly ever going to call her Meghan Markle anymore because of that move by the palace to take away the title. It's going to amp up the use of the title. It's going to have, I predict, the opposite effect if they try to take away her title. Now, I could be wrong. I could be proven wrong. But I think the very worst thing they could try to pull is to take away her title. That said, even if they do take away her title, um, I don't think it really matters at this point. I think that Meghan has made her statement. She's made her point. She has made her position clear. And that is that she's not going to stand for it, right? She's just not going to stand for it. People can say whatever they want. People can have their feelings. That's their prerogative. She has her prerogatives. And one of those is that she's not going to be, you know, placed in a situation where she feels less than who she sees herself as who she developed herself to be. And I think, for me, I can respect that because it's very hard to develop yourself. It's very hard to build yourself. It's very hard to grow yourself. It's very hard to stretch yourself. It's a life consuming job to develop yourself and work on yourself to be the best that you can possibly be in this world. And it is clear for me that before she met her husband, this human person worked on herself to be her best self, the best version of herself, especially when you take into consideration a lot of the dynamics that seems to have been rampant in her family. I mean, she rose above all of that and she developed herself to be the best version of herself without a lot of money, without a lot of fame, without a lot of social stature, even without, as much privilege as, say someone like Kate Middleton. I mean, she worked on herself. She gave herself permission to take certain internships, to educate herself by going abroad and meeting people through the United Nations. I mean, she worked on her blog, the TIG, even, and created something that still resonates even after she's taken it down for the past 6 years. She traveled. I mean, she went out to her auditions to get her jobs and so on and so forth. I mean, she worked on herself. And the other day when I went to um, Oscar Wilde's home in Paris that has been transformed into a hotel in the Saint Germain area because she recommended it in the TIG years ago. And I saw, the kinds of places that she frequented before her marriage to the Duke of Sussex, then Prince Harry at the time. I see this as a human person who worked on herself, and she worked on herself a lot. And it's a job that we all have, is to work on ourselves. And so when you do that, and then you meet people who are trying to put you 15 notches back down where you've already come up from on your own with your hard work on yourself, right? They now want to put you in a box that they determine just based on random criteria. They don't know anything about you and they don't care. What they care about is their own perceptions of what someone like you should be, what someone like you should aspire to, based on outward qualities and characteristics that are only a part of who you are as a human being. And so she, Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, was not able to put up with that. She was not 22 years old. She was in her 30s at the time, almost 40, when she met this man. She was formed and she was formed according to her terms and her specs and her criteria. She met her husband at the Soho House in London. I mean, not anybody can get into the Soho House. Harry didn't even have a membership at the Soho House. He didn't, it wasn't his idea. It was her idea. He didn't take her there. She took him there. And this was his city, his hometown, right? I mean, this woman was ahead of her time, and she was ahead even of certain members of the royal family in many ways. And so to arrive in this family, this is her second marriage. She's not a baby, she's a grown educated woman who has worked on herself. And for them to try to treat her like she's this, ignorant teenager of a certain milieu that they can treat in a certain way based on just, outward characteristics and not about the quality of the human person that she has developed herself to be, she said, no, no, I'm not going to let you do this to me. I'm not going to let you do it. I'm not going to let your press do it. I'm not going to let certain members of your population do it or other members of the broader global community do it because they think they have permission from you based on how you're treating me, digging at me underneath where people can't see so that I look like I'm the heavy when I respond. She was like, I'm not having any of it. This is going to be according to my terms. I married this man. If he wants to be with me, I want to be with him. But it's not going to be according to this kind of a toxic situation. It's going to be healthy. It's going to be something where I feel like the woman I have developed myself to be. It's going to be in a way that, brings out my best, allows me to grow, to breathe, to be happy, to be comfortable, to feel welcome, to feel included. And it's not happening here, and I'm leaving, right? I can't fault Meghan for that at all. I respect her for that. And I understand how many people find this disconcerting because someone like her going up against people like this, these are the most important people in the entire world. And she needs to genuflect and curtsy and shut her mouth in the face of abuse, especially abuse that is not overt to the public. It's being, she's digging underneath at her, right? In a private way and daring her to keep her mouth shut about it. And she said, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to allow you to do that. I'm not going to give you permission to do that, right? And she left, and people are upset about it because when you're a certain type of person in this society, you need to take it on the nose and shut your mouth, right? I don't fault Meghan, and I really think that everybody should just be happy now. I mean, she's out. The monarchy is saved. Right? You're safe. She's gone. So I don't know why they keep dredging this stuff up, even with this whole story about the racist this and the racist that. I mean, at this point, it doesn't matter. She is out. She's back home. Her husband is with her. Her children are with her. And over here, King Charles has the monarchy. Kate is the queen in waiting. Her children have their titles. Everybody's happy now, right? Now they want to take the titles away. Okay. I mean, in Meghan's place, I'd be like, okay, go for it. Go for it. And have a good day. And voila. That's how I feel about it. And I suspect that's sort of how Meghan feels about it too.